if there's one person who you disagree with vehemently on Israel, I think it's fair to say it's Bari Weiss. And you're a friend of mine, and she's a friend of mine, but I think this is an interesting thing that's just happened. She's been reportedly, Dylan Byers of Puck News is a scoop, this is his scoop, reportedly been offered between $100 and $200 million for the free press. This is how Puck is reporting it. David Ellison, the son of Larry Ellison, and they just bought Paramount and CBS. David, the son, is only like 41. He made an offer for the free press. It's expected to be well above the site's most recent $100 million valuation, but well below the $200 million figure that was recently floated in the Financial Times. That was an absurd ask, writes Dylan Byers. The free press does $15 million in annual subscription revenue, and Bari's politically charged content makes it hard to scale the advertising business. Plus, there's no tech stack. It's all on Substack. Either way, it will land Weiss a king's ransom just a little over 5 years after her dramatic departure from the New York Times. The deal's not done yet, of course, but as a source with knowledge of the negotiations told me this afternoon, it's on the 1 yard line. As part of the deal, he reports, I'm told, that David Ellison plans to give Bari Weiss a role at CBS News that would, among other things, task his fellow millennial with guiding the editorial direction of the division, the news division. Bari's avowedly pro-Israel and anti-woke worldview. You disagree with her on that first one, but agree with her on the second one. You're not a woke person. Not to mention her broadly shit-kicking anti-establishment disposition would inevitably inspire blowback from various corners of the newsroom and could dramatically change the editorial posture and reputation of one of the most storied and certainly self-important institutions in American journalism. For David, that's likely part of the point. Your thoughts on all of this, Glenn?
There's a lot going on here. I mean, I definitely do have extremely vehement disagreements with Bari on Israel, to put that mildly, but I also have had interactions with Bari personally, and I say what everyone who I've ever known has known her says, that she's a very, charming, nice person. It's very hard to dislike Bari personally. So for me, at least, it's
very
not
bright
about
too.
that.
Extremely bright.
And I actually wrote one of the very first articles when she was hired from the New York Times by the Wall Street Journal, because all the liberals were enraged that Bret Stephens was being put on the op-ed page. And I was like, Bret Stephens, he's just like a normal run-of-the-mill conservative neocons. But Bari is an extremely shrewd person. She understands how the discourse works. And I guarantee you she'll be the more consequential hire there, which I do think Bari is extremely shrewd. And she has built the free press into something successful. The issue for me is, and I'm also a huge, proponent of new media and clearing out the old corporate media generation. I mean, that's what my career has been based on, is I grew out of new media and blogs and all of that. So I'm always happy to see that. I think the issue here, though, is that you cannot ignore the politics here. So the previous owner of Paramount and CBS was Sherry Redstone, the widow of Sumner Redstone. And Sherry Redstone said after October 7th, her only interest became defending Israel. She didn't care about journalism anymore. She lost interest in Paramount and CBS, and that's why she decided to sell it. She's selling it to Larry Ellison's son, which basically is what he is. I mean, that's his primary accomplishment. Larry Ellison is the founder of Oracle, extremely successful, one of the 10 richest people on the planet. So he has, billions of dollars to play with, his son does. And he's buying Paramount and CBS News. And the issue far and away that has been at the top of the agenda for the Ellisons, Larry Ellison and David Ellison, when it comes to politics or philanthropy, is Israel. And there has been controversy since October 7th about some of the stories 60 Minutes ran, supposedly too sympathetic to Gaza, too critical of Israel. And now he wants to take Bari Weiss, who, again, I have respect for her accomplishments and success, but is what she has built anywhere near worth $100 million? Go look at how many people listen to her podcast or how many people watch her videos on YouTube. It is a tiny footprint. And to place her at the top of some kind of editorial or ideological enforcement role at CBS when she so aligns with David Ellison on the issue that's of greatest importance to both of them is something that concerns me, because I really believe in a media that is kind of divorced from clear-cut agendas where the reporting is shaped by that. I have no jealousy of Bari. I've done very well in journalism. I'm thrilled for her that she has. I really like her wife, Nellie, as well. I like both of them. But I do think there are things to question in this deal in terms of exactly why it's happening and exactly what it will entail in terms of Bari's influence over CBS News in particular.
That's very interesting. My own feeling on it when I saw was it's like Bari's doing well with the free press. She's got a lot of investors who she's, doing a good job for, and they'll probably take a hefty amount of that money. But to me, this feels like somebody comes up to you and says, I've got this beautiful ship I'd love for you to captain. It's absolutely gorgeous. You might even call it unsinkable. It's going to set sail on the Atlantic. We're going to head north into the Arctic area. There may be a couple of icebergs. I'm sure you'll be fine. Here's the wheel. Like, why would you go into mainstream media right now? Like, it's dead. It's dying. It absolutely is on track for the iceberg. I just don't understand the allure. And I really don't understand the allure to go to a television network, which is not Bari's background at all. And it's for me, and I really love Bari and Nellie too, I worried they're going to eat her alive because CBS is among the worst when it comes to being insular. Like, you have to be raised at CBS to be respected by the CBS people. Ask Katie Couric if you don't believe me. Ask Catherine Herridge if you don't believe me. Whatever you think of Katie Couric, within that circle, she would certainly be considered one of the most storied, established journalists of modern times. And they hated her guts that she didn't rise up within CBS and she didn't come from the evening news and all that crap. There's no way they're going to respect somebody who did a stint at the Journal and the Times and then went off into independent media as a television editorial boss. And I'm sorry, but they're also not going to respect somebody who's young and a woman because CBS is not built that way. Again, ask Katie Couric, ask Catherine Herridge. I've watched it happen time after time. So I just don't get the allure. Like, are we on an independent media train where we're like creating and building something new that matters and is really going to replace these dinosaurs? Or are we going back into the dinosaurs to try to somehow put the paddles on them and continue to ask for a charge when the patient has long since expired?
Yeah, it's such a good point. I'll just give you this quick anecdote. I founded The Intercept in 2013, and we did so with Pierre Omidyar, the multi-billionaire founder of eBay. And at the time, he was strongly considering buying the Washington Post for the same amount he invested in the media company that we created, which was $250 million. And ultimately, Jeff Bezos bought it instead. And I remember him telling me he wanted to buy the Washington Post to change it, but realized that with an institution that kind of long-standing, that kind of ossified, even if you buy it and you're the owner, it's extremely difficult to change it. He decided it would be just better to start something from scratch that he felt he could put his imprint on. And I do think, while I did express the concern that Bari's going to go there and exert a lot of influence, I think more likely is what you said, which is kind of like the rotted roots of CBS, even with new ownership, probably telling her she'll be protected or whatever, is more likely to consume her and change her and the free press than it is the other way around. And also, I think you're so right. This is a dying medium, not just cable, but network news. Like, I've never heard anyone under 40 being like, hey, did you catch 60 Minutes, the other night?
No.
That's not where they get their news from. And Bari has created something, whether I like it or not, that is extremely influential because of its independence. And I have seen people go in the reverse way, like you and Tucker, for example, were freed when you finally got out of working for a major corporation. Even if I had that same experience, like, even if you don't realize the constraints that are there, they're still there, just going to work there every day. Why would you want to sacrifice the incredible freedom and liberty that you have of being your own boss and having this great influence to go basically become an employee of a stodgy old corporation that seems to be more dying than it is rejuvenating? Maybe it's just the allure of a brand name job, but I don't really see Bari as the kind of person who, I wouldn't do it.
I think she's going to hate it. They're going to be nasty bitches to her. And I use that term in a non-gendered way. I think they're going to be terrible to her. I think she's doing something really exciting right now, and she is succeeding. And fine, the exit plan, if she wants to sell the free press, I have no judgment on that. I'm sure she could build something else awesome from scratch. And she's got a lot of investors who love her because Bari's liberal. I mean, she's more of a, old school liberal. And she's not woke, so she's safe, because a lot of these leftist investors, They love that kind of, they're not woke either. They can't say it publicly. They love the things that she writes that are non-woke, but they still don't like Trump. So Bari's a great investment for them. And they probably would get behind any new publication or project that she would put out there. But this just is not it. Honestly, Glenn, I can tell you truly, if Fox News came to me tomorrow and said, would you come in and head up editorial, or any other organization, come in and help us, maybe like an ABC or a CBS, and like help us right the ship, I would say, no, thank you. No, thank you. I've already gone into these networks and seen the hatred they have for people who are genuinely not of the left. And for outsiders, which Bari 100% will be considered, notwithstanding her liberal bona fides card. And they're miserable places to be. CBS is notorious for how unhappy everyone is. So I just think, like, why? It's so wonderful to be independent and not to have these corporate bosses. You and I are in this great place where if somebody loves our product, maybe we'll license our product to them. That's fine. They don't own us. It's like, whatever. But there's no way they own us. You wouldn't give your editorial freedom up. I wouldn't give my editorial freedom up. And you go and join one of these organizations, and they're the ones who control you, not the other way around.
Right. Even if you're being promised, which I'm sure Larry Ellison's son is promising her, no, like you're going to go there, you're going to have total absolute freedom. The nature of a corporation is not consistent with that kind of freedom. You have too many factions, too many power centers to please. There's no way that you can go there with all the people around you from the top and the bottom insisting that you act a certain way, that you stay within certain lanes.
Look what happened to Chris Licht at CNN.
Exactly. I mean, he just tried to like modify it a little bit, like, hey, let's not be the spokesperson and the arm of the DNC. Let's get back to what made CNN successful. And he was gone in an instant because there was a huge internal uproar over it. And she was driven out of the New York Times because of that. This like very catty high school behavior of like sniping at her on Slack. And, that's what she left. And she, again, for better or worse, I would say for worse, but for better or worse, she created something genuinely influential that she runs. That's her creation. Why go give that up and work? And I could see if CBS were still this like major powerhouse, but we're like the 1950s and we were, in the area of 3 networks. Oh, you get to run one network? Great. That isn't power anymore. That's almost obscurity.
That's how I feel. I hope she doesn't do it. I want her to get her payout, so I'm kind of torn because I think she deserves all the riches, and I hope she spends them well and enjoys her life fully with Nellie, and now their children. But I just think this is the wrong move. She's not the right person for this job. I can see why they want her. I can see why they need her. I don't see what she gets out of it other than, the paycheck, which, okay, I'm not going to shake a stick at that because it is nice to have money, and I'm sure Bari would love to have that cushion on her bank account. So anyway, all the best to her. Words of caution sounded, and now we'll see how it shakes out. When inflation jumps, when you hear the national debt is over $37 trillion, do you ever think maybe now would be a good time to buy some gold? Well, you'd be right. Whether as a hedge against inflation, peace of mind during global instability, or just for sensible diversification, Birch Gold Group believes every American should own physical gold. And so they created something special. Until September 30th, if you're a first-time gold buyer, Birch Gold is offering a rebate of up to $10,000 in free metals on qualifying purchases. To claim eligibility and start the process, request an info kit right now. Just text MK to 989898. Plus, Birch Gold can help you roll an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and you're still eligible for a rebate in free metals of up to 10 grand. So make right now your first time to buy gold and take advantage of a rebate up to $10,000 when you buy before September 30th. Text MK to the number 989898 to claim your eligibility and get your free info kit. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.